Hello there and welcome to the channel. Now, regular viewers amongst you will remember that I periodically have a check through my newsfeed to see if there's any interesting articles coming up, and we've had one come through from the legacy media, the Daily Mirror no less, regarding something that Monty Don's been talking about. Monty Don being one of my favourite gardening TV presenters. So he's been talking about plants that you have a last chance to get in for December, and regarding some of the seeds that he sows on Boxing Day as part of his Boxing Day routine. Now, the bulb is absolutely fine, you need to do it. I'll get into that a little bit more, but regarding the seeds, this isn't going to be appropriate for a lot of gardeners, and I'll explain why he's doing it, and I'll explain why it's probably not going to work for you. But let's get into it. Before I go, if you enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe, and if you would like YouTube to notify you every time we release a new video, then just click on that notification bell. It's all free and you can undo it whenever you want. It's instant and it doesn't cost you anything at all. So bulbs. Right, now the plants that Monty Don is talking about getting in before December are your actual tulips, and that's pretty much all of your tulips. And the reason for this is twofold. First one is as soon as the temperatures get too cold and the ground begins to freeze, and you can't actually physically dig into the ground to plant these up. And if you're planting these need to go down approximately 3 times the height of a bulb. That's how deep you go, and approximately 1 bulb space between each bulb. So when you're planting these, that's the planting distance. Anyway, so get them in before the ground freezes. That's important. Second thing, and is arguably even more important, is the fact that tulip bulbs need to be subjected to freezing temperatures. Doesn't need to be that cold, but certainly touching on freezing. And the reason for that is this: if they don't get a decent amount of time under freezing conditions, under winter conditions, then they won't initiate their flowering. So come the spring, they may come into leaf, but they may not come into flower, which is known as being blind in horticultural terms. So these need a period of freezing down, depending on which bulb species or cultivar they are. That can be between anywhere of 8 weeks up to about 12 weeks. So it's a decent amount of time, and really on the south coast here, we want to try and get them in quite early, because our winters do not last as long as they would do in the country further up north. So that's that one. That's tulips. Get them in now. Don't leave it too late. So after Christmas, once Monty Don has had enough of his family telling him how clever he is, he likes to hide himself away in the greenhouse and sow 3 particular seeds. He likes to sow onion seeds, he likes to sow pepper seeds, and he likes to sow tomato seeds. So he's sowing all of these in November. Now, regarding onions, that's absolutely fine, but when it comes to sowing peppers and tomato seeds in December, well, it works for some people, it doesn't work for others, and I'll explain why. Now, both tomatoes and pepper plants originate in the subtropical regions of South America, and as such they do need quite a lot of light, quite a lot of heat, in order to get them into a mature stage where they're ready to flower and then fruit. So when it comes to growing them here in the UK, they're going to need a helping hand. Now, typically when you're growing these, you tend to sow them around about March time, so that they're of a decent size to plant out into their final position outside come the end of the late frost. Now, on the south coast, that could be around about May, beginning of May, and then further up north you might be even looking at the beginning of June. So when it comes to a growing period, you've only really got till June until about October. So that's only 5 months. That's not a terribly long growing period. So what some of the more clever growers do, they start them off far earlier, and you can do. However, you need some fancy equipment. So those specialist growers who like to nationally compete for who's got the biggest tomato, well, they also start sowing their tomato seeds in December, and some of the super specialist guys who really are into that, they can start germinating their seeds as early as mid-November. But in order to do that, they need some specialist equipment, and without it you're not gonna have a lot of luck. Now, you might be able to get your tomato seeds to germinate, but it's going to take quite a long time for your pepper seeds to germinate, and if you haven't got the additional equipment required in order to bring those on, your pepper seeds either aren't going to germinate, or when they do, they're just going to sit there like lemons. Not like lemons as a lemon tree, but you know what I mean, lemons. So what is this specialist equipment? So what you're trying to achieve is the germination conditions that you would find in the native habitat of subtropical South America. So you're looking at much higher light levels, much higher temperatures. So in order to achieve that, what most growers do, they create a specialist greenhouse that is insulated, that is lined with reflective material to keep the light in the greenhouse, and there'll be additional like light panels with a similar wavelength to natural light, and that'll be on timers, so you'll get an extended light period. So it looks like so to the plants it's a longer day as you would get in our summer. And then there'll be heating in the greenhouse, like in the ambient air temperature of the greenhouse, and also probably got under mat heating as you'd find in a heated propagator. So there's plenty of heat you got to add to it, plenty of light. Both of those are really important, and you know, this is specialist equipment and it can be quite expensive. So unless you've got an absolute passion for it, or you're producing a huge amount of tomatoes and peppers for the commercial industry, it's very unlikely that you're going to have this at hand at your home. Let's be honest with you, you're not going to. So although the specialist growers can do it, and Monty Don, we all know he's minted, there's a big mountain of gold that his house is built on, he can pay for all this and it's absolutely fine. And believe me, it is the best way in order to produce a decent crop of peppers and decent crop of tomatoes. Even in the UK, on the south coast where we have plenty of light over the summer, and you're growing these things in the greenhouse, they still struggle. We do seem to be right on the edge to what these plants need in order to crop proficiently. So to conclude, Monty Don says plant your tulips now before the weather turns and you can't plant them, and don't leave it till after the weather, because then they're not going to flower anyway. So with regards to that, Monty Don is absolutely spot on. Now with regards to sowing your onions, that's absolutely fine, but when it comes to peppers and tomatoes, yes, in a perfect world we would all love to be sowing those seeds really early, but it's all about having the right equipment in order to bring those on to get them to a decent size, so come the spring when they can go out, when the threat of late frost has passed, they'll actually start growing, hit the ground running, and produce a load of flowers and subsequent fruit as early on in the season as you possibly can, to ensure that you get cropping right until the end of the season. So yes, Monty Don is absolutely spot on, but can you do it? Can I do it? Not without that extra lighting and heating that is required to bring these plants to bloom. Anyway, thanks for watching. But also, if you've got any great tips with regards to growing tulips, onions, I'm not really talking about those, peppers and tomatoes, then let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Any great tips as to bring these on early, especially those peppers, because those are an absolute pain to try and get growing quick. I wouldn't even bother trying them without at least a heated propagator to bring them on, because they can be so slow. Anyway, before I go, just one last thing. I'm going to go in the wall, have another cup of tea, and while I'm doing that, you can just check out this last bit of my video, which there's another way of supporting this channel. Don't forget, the more support we get with likes, subscriptions, then the better it is for our videos. It really helps us. Anyway, thank you for watching. Merry Christmas. See you next video. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description, you can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.